Last fall, as I was planting out the bulk of the cool season garden, I decided on a whim to conduct a little experiment to see if I could get tomato plants to not just live over winter here in Sacramento, but actually produce some fruit. So I started a couple, and I got them outside. I believe it was in October, and after almost 4.5 months, this one here has finally started ripening some fruit. So I'm actually pretty psyched about this. No, it's not a lot, but I did this completely without, any kind of greenhouse or hoop house or anything like that. All I really did with this plant here was I covered it with a thick, heavy-duty contractor bag on the nights when it looked like there was going to be a frost. And that was really the extent of the extra care that I put into this. I don't think I even ever fertilized it or watered it. Part of it's a testament to this variety of tomato. This is the Patio Select that you can get from Botanical Interests. And nobody's paying me to say this, obviously. My channel's so small, so I can just completely tell the truth. It's actually a really great variety, very prolific, as you can see here, for a dwarf cherry tomato. Um, Even, in the harsh-ish conditions of the winter. We don't have tremendously harsh winters, obviously, here in the Sacramento Valley, but we do have a few frosty nights. That would kill most tomatoes and other warm season crops. But in spite of all of that, in spite of the less than ideal conditions, these are actually some nice big clusters of tomatoes here. So I'm going to make a controversial decision here that is likely to get me a few angry comments, assuming anybody sees this. I'm going to harvest these as not quite fully ripe and bring them inside. Tomatoes, actually, they have a very narrow ripening window in terms of temperature, where conditions are ideal. So if you can keep them kind of at that temperature, they'll ripen up a lot faster. As far as the flavor of vine ripened versus ripened off the vine, I personally have never been able to tell a difference. I'm sure that there are people with more discerning palates out there who can. I'm just not one of them. And sometimes I like to bring in the tomatoes before they're fully ripe, so that nothing else gets them before I have a chance to get to them. So I'm going to pull these and actually get a weight to see how much this plant has produced so far. Initially, I started with two of these patio tomato plants, but as you can see here, some kind of possibly fungal ailment killed one of them. I'm not sure what exactly this is. It didn't look like any of the pictures of blight that I looked up online. So if anybody has any idea what this is, what caused these leaves to turn purple and curl up like this, I would love to hear it in the comments. I've harvested everything that was past the break point in terms of ripeness. Break point being when it just starts to show a little color. At that point, you can bring a tomato inside and it will ripen up on a countertop. So I just want to get a quick weight here. I'm curious to see, and you probably can't see the number on the scale, so you'll have to take my word for it. And it turns out, oh, 13.9 ounces. Not a ton, obviously. It pales in comparison to a summer harvest, but, uh, you know, for a February harvesting, just shy of a pound of tomatoes from a plant that you didn't keep in a greenhouse, just on the patio with occasionally a trash bag thrown over it, really can't complain there. When they ripen up a little more, hopefully they taste decent. So beyond the winter tomatoes, there's not a tremendous amount of interesting stuff going on in my garden at this point in the year. I have these potatoes starting to come up here. These are my second round. I attempted a previous round that I started. I chitted them, got them in the ground in October, and in spite of my efforts at covering everything, the frost killed off the plants. So I made the call to just harvest everything as small boiler potatoes. I didn't get a ton, but a few weeks worth of potatoes as a side dish at the very least. I'm hoping that these I can keep alive, you know, until some point in May or June would be nice to get some decent sized potatoes out of these. Okay, as you see here, we have a little bit of broccoli still left. The primary heads have been harvested, long ago. But these two varieties that we have going here, uh, the Chico and Calabrese, they sprout these miniature florets that tend to pop up from the nodes between the leaves underneath the main head. So between the main heads and what we are still harvesting here, we've been regularly eating broccoli now since December, which has been really nice. It's our favorite of what the winter garden produces. Hopefully, we'll be finishing up the rest of this within the next couple of weeks, just because I really need to get these beds, start getting them prepped for the spring and summer gardening season. But overall, pretty happy with our broccoli yield this winter. Got my carrots still going. Not a lot of sun again on this bed during the winter season, but everything is still living, still gradually getting bigger. I harvested just a handful of these for a soup a couple weeks back. So let's take a look and see what's going on size-wise here real quick. Okay, getting there. I mean, I would eat this, but I don't want to really reduce my overall yield by pulling everything in the baby carrot phase. So I don't need this bed until May, because this is where I'm going to plant sweet potatoes this year. I don't really put those out until things start getting hot in mid to late May. So I'm just going to let these ride until then, and hopefully get a decent amount of carrots to freeze and use otherwise. All right, cabbage, red cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. Again, not a very dark spot in the wintertime, so things are going tremendously slow, but we are starting to get little Brussels sprouts forming here, so that's exciting. Again, hopefully, by the end of March, we can harvest this bed and I can flip it for the upcoming season. Other than that, really, everything is either cover cropped, like I have this one here, with just a handful of things like clover and some radishes to act as kind of a green manure that I'm going to chop and drop, chop and drop, leave it as a compost / mulch, again within the next couple of weeks. But yeah, that's really it right now. Honestly, this whole yard garden area is a mess. It's been a wet couple of months, just chilly, wet, not very inviting outside, and haven't done a great job of picking up after myself after little projects and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to things getting a little warmer and getting the space back in order so it doesn't feel so overgrown, cluttered, and chaotic. I just kind of want it to dry out a little bit before attempting that. I've been in California 10 years now, about that, since moving from northern New England, and my tolerance for being cold, wet, and dark has definitely diminished in that decade. Um, I'm not as functional when it's nasty out as I used to be. But again, spring comes early here in the Sacramento Valley, so I'm assuming by the end of this month, early next month, I'm really going to be able to, get out and work on some nice days and get stuff in order here. Right now, the grow light rack is where the really interesting and, for lack of a better term, exciting stuff is going on. I began the planting process about 3, maybe 4 weeks ago over Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. I had some time off from work and took advantage of it. And so far, so good. Don't see any signs of disease. These Cherokee purple seedlings are doing really well. So I'm pleased that they are. I'm actually ending up having to adjust the height of my grow lights almost daily so that the plants, I don't want them in contact with the light itself. Those heat up a bit. So yeah, I'm having to give them a little extra headspace pretty much every day. They're growing fast. These Anaheim chili peppers here, I don't think I've ever had a pepper grow as fast as these are. It's kind of surprising. They're just doing really well. And it was a free bonus packet of seeds when I ordered from Sandia Seed Company. I don't know if that's a policy or if it was just, a mistake that they tossed it in. But I ordered a few packages of their Virginia Sweets heirloom tomato, and they included a package of these Anaheim chilies, which are supposed to be a fairly mild hot pepper, like 600 Scovilles, which is close to nothing. But sometimes I know I'm not a heavyweight when it comes to hot peppers, so something mildly spicy can hit the spot for the most part for me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to trying those out. So that's really it right now. The my gardening projects are really in a wait and see kind of a mode until it gets warmer and the big spring summer season kicks in. So that's all I've really got. Thanks for giving a look at what I've got going here, and I've got more coming up fairly shortly here.